a great occasion this afternoon. We thank you so much for joining us. And at this time, I'll introduce St. Augustine Mayor Tracy Hunter.
Thank you so much, and it is indeed my great honor to have an opportunity to preside over this ceremony this afternoon. I want to thank you all for coming to this very special presentation of the City of St. Augustine's highest and most prestigious award, the Order of La Florida. In 1975, the Order of La Florida was created so that the City Commission, on behalf of the people of St. Augustine, might recognize those who, and I quote, over a long period of time have unselfishly devoted time and talent to the welfare and betterment of St. Augustine's citizens and heritage, who has exemplified the finest qualities of citizenship and has contributed extraordinary services to the community. Recipients of the Order of La Florida must be 55 years of age, and there may not be more than 9 living recipients at any one time. A nomination originates with a member of the City Commission and is presented to the City Manager, who then puts it before the remaining members of the Commission for confirmation. In the 44 years since the award was created, the Commission has given the award only 20 times. And it is important for us to take a moment and hear the names of those who have been honored with this award. Some names you may remember and some not. Some of these friends are still with us and some are not. But each name reminds us of a member of our community who offered unselfish service to our community. Henry W. McMillan, Herbert E. Wolfe, John D. Bailey, Albert C. Manussi, Lawrence Lewis Jr., Eleanor Phillips Barnes, Xavier Lopez XL Palacier Sr., Clarissa Anderson Gibbs, Luis Arana, Eugene Lyon, Edward G. Musalem, Jerome George Cass, Kenneth Beeson, William L. Proctor, Kathleen Deegan, Michael Gannon, Frank and Betty Uzina, H.L. Herbie Wiles, Robert B. Haling, and Carl D. Halbert. Several of these recipients, if you could we are so proud of all of these people, so appreciative of what they've done for our community. It was my honor to nominate tonight's recipients, but as I confessed to Jean, and I will confess to you, this was Bob Harper's idea, and as soon as he broached it with me, I kicked myself like, why the heck did I not think of that sooner? But it was my honor to bring it forth to the Commission, and I thank my fellow members of the City Commission for their unanimous support that we recognize Tom and Jean Rahner with the Order of La Florida Award. It is not an exaggeration to say that for more than 60 years, there have been very few performances of live theater in St. Augustine that were not the beneficiary of a contribution by Tom and Jean Rahner. Whether their leadership to build a thriving theater community, or by actively staging productions from the intimate to the grand, or working diligently to ensure that the performing arts have a place to perform, Tom and Jean Rahner are synonymous with live theater in St. Augustine. Together and as individuals, their work includes every aspect of the theater, with each having spent time on stage, backstage, running the front of the house. They have each filled the role of actor, choreographer, stage manager, theater manager, production designer, director, and producer, and in doing so have enriched the cultural landscape of St. Augustine for decades. Tom, a St. Augustine native, began performing as a puppeteer with his own one-man marionette show in his early teens. He also appeared in productions staged by the Artillery Lane Theater and St. Augustine's Little Theater. And in addition to appearing in college productions as a student, Tom worked professionally in summer theater and historic outdoor drama. After graduation in 1957 from the University of Florida with majors in English and theater, Tom joined the U.S. Army, But before his induction, he appeared with Jean's brothers in the St. Augustine Little Theater production of Stalag 17. Her brothers invited Tom to their home for dinner, where he met their sister Jean, and within 5 months, they were engaged to marry. The Army deployed Tom to Germany, where Jean joined him for their wedding in the summer of 1959. After his discharge and the couple's return to St. Augustine, Tom took a teaching position with the St. Johns County School District, teaching 5th grade for a year and then 2 years at the high school level. With the approaching 400th anniversary of the founding of St. Augustine in 1965, one of the most ambitious projects being planned was by the 400th Anniversary Committee. Its goal was to build a 2,000-seat amphitheater in Anastasia State Park to host a summer-long historical outdoor drama about the founding of St. Augustine, written specifically for the occasion. In 1963, Tom took the position as the first manager of the new St. Augustine Amphitheater and oversaw the facility's construction and operations, ensuring the facility could meet its opening deadline. That goal was met, and in June of 1965, Cross and Sword debuted with Tom as the theater's general manager and an actor playing the comic lead in a cast that included Jean. In 1968, Tom took over the role as director of Cross and Sword, seeing it designated as Florida's official state play. He held that position for a decade, during which he and Jean performed lead roles, and Jean served as the play's marketing director until its last season in 1996. It was also in 1968 that Tom joined the faculty of the newly opened Flagler College. It was the beginning of more than 3 decades-long relationship with the college and its theater department. That same year, Jean enrolled at college as a part-time student and took a position in the college's bookkeeping office. She completed her her bachelor's degree in theater arts in 1978 and returned to campus as an instructor and a director of a variety of student productions. In 1973, famed motion picture and TV actor Richard Boone directed a production of The Dog in the Manger by the Renaissance Spanish playwright Luke de Vega. The local Bicentennial Commission produced the play in the Leitner Museum Casino, with Jean playing the romantic role of Countess Diana and Tom playing her comic servant. Even though the college's theater department was growing, it had no theater until 1975, when Tom designed and oversaw the construction of the college's first theater, a 185-seat facility in the Governor's House, which served the college and the community for 13 years. As part of the college's recognition of the American Bicentennial, Tom directed the theater's first performance, The Beau's Stratagem, a play last performed 200 years before by British soldiers in St. Augustine. In the early 1980s, Jean, who had begun her performing career in 1959 with the St. Augustine Little Theater, was one of the founders of a newly created dinner theater in St. Augustine at the Monson Motor Lodge. In those early years, Jean would simultaneously be working as actor, director, and manager, both working the front and the back of the house at times on the same night. The dinner theater filled a need for live theater in St. Augustine and provided popular stage entertainment to both residents and tour groups into the 1990s. For the centennial of the opening of the Hotel Ponce de Leon in 1988, now Flagler College, Tom wrote and performed, and Jean directed and produced Henry Flagler Remembers, a one-man show that was responsible for introducing the railroad and hotel builder to a wider audience that heretofore was unaware of his importance in Florida history. The production continued for 25 years in venues ranging from Marathon in the Keys to Tallahassee and as far afield as Louisville, Kentucky. In 1993, Jean co-founded Limelight Theater and, as with so many other theater projects in her experience, played many roles in the development of the theater and its reputation for artistic quality. Having seen the Limelight Theater prosper and gain a well-earned reputation as the premier live theater stage in St. Augustine, Jean retired in 2005 and launched a classic theater, a semi-professional theater established to bring classic, historic, and original theatrical works to the community. In 1991, Tom had yet another opportunity to participate in the design and construction of an auditorium for Flagler College. an 800-seat state-of-the-art facility. The auditorium was immediately put to use and in 1996 hosted the premiere in the 6-week run of Flagler, Empire Builder of Florida, a musical written by Tom, composed by former resident Daniel Hubbard, and produced by Limelight Theater, another successful collaboration by the Rahners. After more than 3 decades as a member of the Flagler College faculty, Tom retired in 1999, and retirement has turned his attention to making museum quality scale models. Tom also holds the designation of Associate Professor Emeritus, Theater Arts. In June 2019, Jean was named one of Flagler College 50 Alumni of Distinction, marking the 50th anniversary of the college's founding. A recipient of numerous awards for her work in the theater, Jean continues to serve the arts in many capacities, including currently serving on the committee studying the possibility of a cultural arts center in St. Augustine. I have to give credit here to Paul Williamson. Paul put this together, but this was a labor of love for Paul because I believe Paul has been associated with the Rahners for an awfully long time. So Paul, thank you so much. Both teachers and performers can never know the extent of their influence. A question answered in a classroom may not have its full impact until years later. And a moment experienced in a live theater may not fully resonate until long after the play has ended. Tom and Jean Rahner are both teachers and performers, and while they may never know the full reach of their influence, their community is fully aware of their contribution to the arts and their leadership that has inspired and enriched our community. Now I ask my fellow commissioners to join me for the presentation, and Tom and Jean, if you would please come forward. Not only the City Commission, but our whole community. We'll never be able to thank you enough. But you deserve every recognition, and you deserve and have all of our love and deep affection. This is an opportunity. The stage is now yours.
Come on, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to come over here.
You never miss an opportunity. Mayor of Church, commissioners, family, and friends. It is a singular honor to be recognized with the Order of La Florida, and we accept with gratitude and humility. We fully realize that this accolade is made possible through the efforts of innumerable people over a period of more than 6 decades. Every parent, sibling, relative, teacher, mentor, and friend offering encouragement and support contributed to whatever success we have achieved. And for this, we are profoundly grateful. St. Augustine was born 454 years ago as a European settlement on this site of the ancient Timucuan village of Siloy. Founded during a time of hurricanes and domestic and international strife, history has seemingly repeated itself. But times have changed. Whether it is clear or not, we, as a nation, are on the brink of another renaissance. If we stay the course and are not diverted by a current wave of incivility and acrimony, which will pass, because it must, if we are to survive. The hallmarks of any civilization are the arts it produces And we have here the opportunity and challenge to enhance our corner of the world. We can build on the foundations laid by previous generations by providing a home for the arts, which will mark this community as a paragon of culture and civility. Paul Green, the author of Cross and Sword and champion of civil rights, who wrote the first Pulitzer Prize-winning all-black drama In Abraham's Bosom. His prologue to Cross and Sword is pure poetry and succinctly expresses the gist of my remarks. I would like to dedicate its reading to the memory of our good friend and colleague, Bob Hall, who passed away last Saturday. Robert Miller Hall was a teacher, artist, and dedicated citizen who gave unselfishly of his time and talent to making St. Augustine a better place. Long, long ago, the dreamers walked this land. The strong of arm, the fond of heart, the valiant, and the daring. Gay was their laugh and free, their footfalls light and gay, their faces lifted toward the dawn, their foreheads to the sunlight breaking. Their faded forms are round us still. The touch of their vanished hands is in the air. The sound of their voices echo through the falling gloom in tremulous syllables of sound. O ye who live and breathe the sun, remember us the dead. Fail not your trust, for if you failed, so we have failed, and all we hoped and struggled for dies with us in the grave. But there shall be no fail, none. Shout forth the roll call of their prideful names. Wake with the reveille of the trumpet's sound these that lie forgotten and forgone. So thus, the dead with their bright dreams shall live in us again, as we ourselves shall live in sons and daughters yet to be, if they stand true as we have stood. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow. But all I have to say is thank you, Mayor Upchurch and the commissioners. Tracy is one of my favorite actors, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to reiterate, it takes numerous people to get anything accomplished. I don't care what it is, in theater or in work, but especially in theater. And my friends are going to know what I'm going to say. It's going to be on my tombstone. I'm so glad it's over. Oh, I
everybody go. We can just go take some pictures.
And we are adjourned. You're welcome to stay for the main stage production at 5. And certainly take your time and socialize.
Yes.